What's going on, everyone? Anon TCG here today, and today we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to talk Magic the Gathering. We've done a couple videos on sorcery, we did a couple videos on Pokemon, but there's a pretty significant sea change going on in Magic the Gathering that I've yet to hear anybody mention, and I think it really started with Karlov Manor, where the print runs were changed fairly significantly. Um, so we had conversations with our distribution partners months ago, where they had mentioned that play boxes, booster boxes, when they came out, are no longer print to demand. So what WotC's doing is they have a pretty sizable wave one, and then there is a much smaller wave two that ships 6 to 8 weeks after, just so distribution continues to have product, and then that's it. And supposedly they've been doing this since Ixalan, but nobody's really paid that much attention because, quite honestly, there's not a whole lot of faith in the product, especially as we get through overprinting world of this. Um, but I want to talk about this because I think what we're seeing with Duskmourn is very interesting, and I think from a future investability standpoint, the game's really changed. You look at Duskmourn, Bloomburrow, what Magic's done is they've created these very unique cards, and we'll pull them up here, which are unique arts. And this is something that a lot of folks have been screaming for years, where even if the cards get reprinted at some point in the future, you have the unique cards, the unique art that is really, as I mentioned, a page out of Pokemon's book, where they have the super high chases that are the chase arts that they never reprint, and that's effectively what provides value for the boxes as time passes. The special illustrations. The other thing specific to Duskmourn is it appears that the print run of the collector boosters is fairly significantly less than Bloomburrow. And part of the reason is with the Nightmare bundles, each one of the Nightmare bundles has two collector boosters in it. So, what we theorize effectively is that the print run is about the same as Bloomburrow, but they've peeled off so many boxes to kind of stuff, the bundles and the Nightmare bundles, that there's just a shortage of product. I think what's also interesting as we look at TCG Player here, there's currently 191 collector boxes for sale. There was about 250 a couple days ago. So the sell-through rate on these is actually quite good, 5 to 10 a day. And as we look at the prices, there's not a whole lot until we're back up at $240, $250. I think the most interesting thing here is, and the last couple sets have really gotten cannibalized as the new sets have come out. The next set to come out is Foundations, and even if it's the best set that Magic's ever put together, there isn't a single person or store who trusts it. We're set up with the 6 major large distributors, and they all reach out on a daily basis saying, "Hey, will you buy this? Will you buy this? Will you buy this?" And quite honestly, our answer, and this may be unwise, but our answer is always no, because there's plenty of product. We can take a wait and see approach, and quite honestly, why take the risk when there's so many other games that are kind of going through the roof here. So, I think from a Duskmourn perspective, the collector boosters, these things are going to be pushing $200 by the end of the year because they're not printing anymore, and there's such a shortage. And I think demand's going to continue here just because the focus is not going to move to Foundations like it moved from Outlaws to Bloomburrow or Bloomburrow to Duskmourn, etc. If we look at the play boosters, and let's pull these up really quickly. Now, these are all still available at distribution. No issues here. Let's see, where are we? Oh, here we go. And again, these are holding up quite well. No different than the rest of them are. And there's 459 or 497 for sale. But they're getting eaten and ripped at 20 to 30 a day. So there's not a whole lot of supply here. And Now the price of distribution's $114, $118, $120. So there's not a whole lot of margin in this. I think the other thing that a lot of folks are underestimating, and just touching on the singles here, I mean, some of these fractured foils, I mean, this says 28 listings. But if we look here, there's actually 17 for sale. I mean, when was the last time you saw any Magic the Gathering card that wasn't like Arabian Nights that only had 17 available when it was still in print? Now, it just goes to show just the sheer shortage of amount of product. And quite honestly, these are all playable cards in the meta. But the other big wild card that a lot of people don't factor into this and haven't understood, Magic's really kind of shot themselves in the foot in the last couple of years pushing Commander. You know, obviously with Commander, you have a 100-card deck or 99 plus 1, whatever, but you can only have one copy of each card. So as they effectively crushed or destroyed Standard, they also destroyed the amount of product that needs to get ripped to support the player base. And, you know, obviously Magic has the largest player base of any game in the world. You know, and I think that's part of the reason why there's such a push to get back to Standard. Because if each player needs 4 copies of card as opposed to 1, well, now you have to open 4 times the amount of product to get that card. And that's really an inherent organic demand driver for the set. So I think is you know, whether Magic's successful or not in swinging the pendulum back to Standard, I think there's going to be a lot of demand. As you know, some folks dabble, some folks may not, but people that were buying 1 copy of the card for a Commander deck, and again, they could have 3 or 4 Commander decks, but now they're going to need 4 for a Standard deck. And I think that's going to be a major driver of this. So between that, the fact that the next set Foundations, again, could be a banger set, but nobody trusts it. And nobody's going to buy it until they know that they're not going to get absolutely shit on by Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. And then, you know, add in the third kind of bullet here, which is the print runs are extremely tight. I think not only the collector boxes, which, you know, in my view are going to be $275 to $300 by the end of the year, but I think these play boxes are going to become something as well, because there's such a massive shortage of them. And the reason why nobody's seeing the appreciation in these is because it's just too early. The other thing that's super interesting is when Duskmourn went to print, it was right when Karlov Banner was falling apart. So, you know, part of the reason why we're seeing a shortage of product is, at least in my opinion, is WotC saw Karlov falling apart and they slashed the print run on this and they tightened it up a little bit. And no different than what we're seeing in Pokemon, you know, the new Surging Spark set coming out, which, you know, the demand's absolutely through the roof. Those print runs were set, you know, 3-4 sets ago when the demand was actually absolutely dead. So, you know, we're going to start to see an imbalance, and we're going to start to see the pendulum swing in the other direction here. And, you know, I just want to bring this up to everybody so you can kind of see it as it happens. So, you know, if this was helpful, you know, like, subscribe, join the Discord, and going forward, yeah, I want to do a little video on Pokemon Center ETBs, what I think of them, and how to kind of game the system and accumulate them. So that's everything for tonight. Have a great night, and, you know, looking forward to speaking to you guys tomorrow.